Hello and welcome to Tech Raptor. Today is a little bit of a fun video. I'm here, Andrew Stretch is here with Andrew Otten.
That's right.
We're finally
Andrews.
getting the Andrews together. You had a chance the past week or two ago to get your hands on Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm someone who is a big fan of Star Wars content, as you can see from some of our amazing fight videos.
Yes, he's very much. He has all the right opinions when it comes to Star Wars.
But I don't know too much about Star Wars Outlaws, and you've just been through it, and you've got some cool footage to show me. So
Yeah.
we'd have a chance to sit down and talk about that.
I had a chance to play about 4 hours of the game. Right now, we only show you about 20 minutes, so I've cut up some stuff. And it was done through Ubisoft has a cool like cloud gaming share thing that they do these previews with. So I got to do it at home. But what that also means with cloud gaming, there's certain latency things. So if there's some weird jankiness with that, and like I make a weird movement or something, it's more than likely that. That and I was playing it with keyboard and mouse because I couldn't get the controller pairing working for some reason on this thing, which I don't know why. But I mean, as a shooter gaming, I'd much rather use the keyboard mouse for the shooting segments. But the controller's way better on everything else.
So if there's any bad gameplay, it is not
Exactly.
a skill issue.
Exactly. The deck was stacked against me. No, so this is just a general overview of a few different things that you can do in Outlaws. If you don't know much about it, it's an open world Star Wars RPG game in the vein of an Ubisoft open worldy kind of thing. And you play K-Vess, who you can see center stage there, who's a scoundrel archetype kind of character, kind of like a Han Solo person, which we haven't really seen too much of Star Wars beyond Han Solo, to be honest with you, because they almost always get wrapped up as a bounty hunter or something like that. So, but she's much more Han Solo-y than anybody else. And she's got her little trusty companion Nix on her back, who's a little guy. I can't remember what the fucking alien's name is called, what kind of creature he is, but
looks like a fuzzy axolotl.
Kinda, but he helps you out. And then next to you is ND5, which is a droid who somehow helps you out in the game. I haven't seen anything about that, so I don't know how he comes to be your partner and or what his deal is or his aims are. But I do know he's a big deal as a companion. But without any further, I think we should just get into it.
Cool.
So I'm gonna swap over to the gameplay here and get going. So it starts out. This is a mission. I think this is pretty early on in the game. It takes place in Mirogana, which is the big city on Toshara, which is one of the 5 planets you get to check out, and it's a brand new planet that's never been in Star Wars before. So this is really, I just want to kick off this showing you like the combat and gameplay. Like, what would you do if you're fighting someone and stealthing around? And so it's got a lot of your standard stuff you've seen in a lot of games, like marking targets. It's pretty standard stuff. But part of me is like, just because the Star Wars style of their like binoculars, which are so kind of, I don't know if they're iconic, but they're recognizable. Using one is very fun. I don't know why, even though it's basic stuff. There's so much of this stuff with Outlaws that's like, it's not new, but it's just the Star Wars flavor that makes it cool. But so this will start with some stealth stuff. And I have a long preview about this entire 4 hours that I played. So I go into a little bit more about the game. But the stealth in this is kind of how a lot of these AAA games handle stealth. They're like character action games.
And if you are interested in reading the written version, we'll have the link for that in the description below.
Damn.
So if that's more your speed, then it's all good.
Yeah, so I'm just getting the lay of the land. But I was saying stealth is kind of like how any of the big budgety character action-y games do it. Your Uncharted, your Horizons are kind of all the same when it comes to that.
You start from the peripheral and take people out
individually, or hell,
lines of sight, and then build it in.
Yeah, exactly. Even like a Far Cry, if you're doing infiltrating bases, like this is kind of that also.
Yep. And then at the point that you hit a wrong button and you have to go to heavy stealth, you just make sure that no one is left alive.
Well, it's almost like you've seen this before, which you haven't. I wish I'd spent more time checking out what Nyx can do, which is your partner there, because he can kind
Mhm.
of mess with a lot of stuff. Like you can send him off to distract enemies
Wow,
or
you've
blow
even
stuff
got
up.
tall grass inside the facility.
This is the only spot I saw it, and I was like, really?
That's pretty
Um,
funny.
but what's funny is Nyx can go over, which I'm sending him over now, as you can see, and he does like cute little dances to distract people.
Aw.
I guess I didn't really show it in the clip, but yeah, he'll just do a cute little dance or he'll play dead. Yeah,
So you've got a
he's pretty
possum.
cute. And you can see the security camera, and I can see kind of what it's seeing to the
Okay.
left there.
Do you know if that was to do with like an ability that maybe your character had already unlocked, or whether that
I
was
don't. I
just
think that
innate?
might just be there,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. And my guess is based on a lot of the stuff Nyx can do, he could probably disabled it or done something
Mhm.
to mess with it.
Yeah, he seems very the Nick seems very versatile. Like if it like sending it
Yeah.
off to go and turn off power as well.
Yeah, so like this was one of the main things to find for this mission is
Mhm.
I got to find two of these things to turn them off to get past an energy barrier to go. The idea of this is I'm infiltrating this mob boss's base to get some files of information.
Okay.
And information is like really big in Outlaws for this because I mean that's how Kves can either blackmail or leverage what she needs
Okay.
or make a certain faction happy. Like right now, we're in a Pike base, the Pike Syndicate, which is one of the main like boss, not mafia things that you can kind of deal with, like the
Mhm.
Huts. And so I'm trying to steal something from them. Ironically,
I mean,
I'm breaking in to steal something from them to try to get favor with them.
I
But
mean that's such when you get to like the deep RPGs, you can end up in so many weird situations. Like, I guess is
yeah.
this gonna help?
Well, what part of this is like try to go relatively unnoticed so that they don't know it's you to get a
Mhm.
thing for somebody and like or impress them,
Okay.
kind of a
Uh,
deal.
so it's like
Yeah.
a test.
A test they didn't know they were giving me.
Whoop. And here comes heavy stealth.
Yeah. So uh combat is like fine, I guess. It's not the highlight of the game to me. It feels
Mhm.
pretty standardy. Um I felt a lot like Uncharted. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So like kind of like with Uncharted, like enemies can drop weapons like that blaster. I think I can pick that up, or that rifle. But it's a limited ammo, and then you kind of throw it away. But you always have your
Active
blaster
reload.
on hand, and there's a Deadeye ability, which I fucked up here because I have no sight on anybody. But you do, as you might have seen, you could do the quick reload. I forgot what that's called from like Gears of War.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always forget the name of it.
I think it's just called active reload. At least it's active
Yeah, I think
reload
you're
in
right.
years. I didn't play. Oh, there's your dead eye. Much
There
better.
we go. Oh, I'm almost dead. I somehow survived this. As you can see, I have basically no health.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, yeah.
So I got to find a vial to heal. So that's the one thing that's a little different with than Uncharted. You don't like automatically heal kind of thing.
That's actually
Um,
really nice.
yeah. So there's what's nice about the tension of the combat is that they'll kind of throw a lot at you, and that's where the variety comes in. But there's also that like yeah, you have health that you can't just automatically get back.
Just turned a
Yeah.
corner and walked into someone while you were healing.
And then I punched him in the face. God, I was so panicked. I didn't know what to do. And that
I've
camera
seen a
saw me.
couple times that it looks like the crouch slide is quite responsive.
Yeah,
But I've definitely seen a couple times where I can tell you were like wanting to move behind a box and then crouch, and you end up
it.
skidding out the other side of it.
Yeah, and it didn't quite do what I wanted because this is not like a twitchy, fast actiony thing where I could just kind of get what I needed. It's a little
Mhm.
bit more of a deliberate movement, right?
Okay.
It didn't quite do what I want, what I was aiming for.
And I'm
But
sure as well, like any of the floatiness of the controls playing through what is essentially
yeah,
a dedicated streaming service.
yeah. So like that, like yeah, reaction stuff and like timing things is hard on something like that. But
That Deadeye looks pretty helpful though.
yeah, and it recharges relatively quickly. So one of the things I didn't really get to see much of is I know that so combat might get way more interesting with more abilities because she does get more abilities unlocked eventually. I just don't know what they are. There's a whole section of those. And you
Did
also
it,
can like do a bunch of upgrades on your blaster that can change quite a bit of things. So I know that there's some customizability that you can do.
did it look like it was the kind of upgrading where kind of by the end of the game everyone's version of the character will be different, or more of a you know
I didn't get to see enough. I think so. Like
okay,
so that was me panicking. That was the quick lock picking. That was
okay,
the end of the combat.
cool.
That was just to show lock picking back there. I guess we go back to lock picking a little bit because I do like it. I want to talk about it for a second. Let me
Yeah, I
just
was gonna say I'm
scoot back.
not entirely sure I could see what was happening.
So it's do you hear the sounds it's making?
Yeah.
So you're timing up with that sound and the light flashing like rhythm. Like it'll have a little bit of a rhythm that you have to go with, and they're always different every
Oh,
time. It's actually super satisfying to get. It's super simple, but I like it a lot. But that's how all lockpicking goes, and it gets actually pretty difficult. And so this is Mirrorgon itself. I'm just running around showing it. And I end with a cool little moment that I just randomly ran across. But it's just a neat, a well-made city of like that feels very Star Warsy.
yeah,
What's nice about Star Wars is it's always grungy and dirty and shitty,
yeah,
opposed to all the other sci-fi out there. So this is just telling you that there's affiliated merchants with the various syndicates, and that the
okay.
better reputation, the better deal you might get, that kind of stuff. Oh, I want to pause it here for a second. So
Mhm.
like you can see like part of the customizability. I don't know how if these my guess is, and like I said, it's just a guess. I didn't see it. Is that a lot of these this gear like upgrades because you're collecting all throughout the world. You're collecting like weird like fibers and steels and metals and stuff.
Okay,
So my guess is like part of these will upgrade at some point, but like the different abilities and things you can do are tied to this to
to
the
your
different
look.
gear you have, yeah, and how you look. And so you do a lot of different stuff.
Okay,
And I know a lot of those materials are also used for upgrading your ship and your blaster. So you can do a lot of stuff with both of them. But this is just looking at a vendor.
this is going to be a really stupid thing to compliment, but I really love the typeface that they have and like the look
Dude,
of like the very Star Wars like
it's the
encapsulating text in thin lines.
yeah, well, it's the Star Wars story
Yeah,
yeah, a styling that they did with
it just
Solo.
it looks really nice on a UI set.
Yes. So this was me just checking out this merchant randomly because he had a different kind of icon. So I was checking out what they sold, and he was like the materials guy.
Okay,
Um, but they had different kinds. But I ran across this.
Looks here like your scan docs have expired.
That's impossible. I just had them renewed.
Not my problem. But, you know, for a few credits, I could look the other way.
Oh, please, I don't have the credits.
Hey, don't you guys have a galaxy to protect or something?
You
Yeah,
sure you want to stick your nose into this,
which is
kid?
pretty good. So this is a good example of you can have these choices, and you see they're both unlocked. If they were locked, there would be a prompt to me to see like, hey, what do I need to have that? Like, what would I have
okay,
needed to have had? So like, if I didn't have enough money, it'd say, hey, you need this amount of money. Or if I didn't have these contacts, like, hey, you need a better reputation with so and so, or to know so and so, or something like that.
okay.
But I thought it was just a cool little moment of them shaking down a merchant that there's no prompt. I just backed out of the encounter with him, and they just showed up and were just like, "Hey, we're gonna blackmail you for some
That's
money."
very fun.
So there's other moments that kind of stuff happens. I just stumbled on, but this is a good example of it. So see there, like my Pike Syndicate stuff was good enough. So I was like,
But
yeah.
the Pikes wouldn't like finding out you're shaking down traitors on their turf.
What are you gonna do? Tell them?
No, I actually have Gorek's comms. Here, I'll show you. It's PT 969, right?
Yes, you were.
Forget
Yeah.
it. This is
Never mind. Not gonna do it.
Oh, I don't know how to thank you. Everyone here is terrified of the Empire.
And so
How about
yeah.
discount?
So Kay's obviously like, what are you gonna give me?
Yes,
That's
yes,
definitely
absolutely.
her style of
Thank
character.
you
What
again.
how do I get? I'm not giving anything free.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so there's that. That was just a little snippet of, and I'm gonna show a little bit more of a city later on in these. But that's kind of what running around in those is like. There's so
I can't
much
believe
more
she,
in them.
I can't believe she just said that guy's phone number out loud, though.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty
That's a
wild.
flex, dude. Well, that's like that's like the big boss of this town. Be like, hey,
Yeah.
here's the mayor's phone number, and like, oh
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
What a
But
strange
this
thing
is
to
just
drop into conversation.
I didn't show much of how I got here. This is out in the open world. I just saw this, and it just wanted to check it out. And it's just I wanted to show it because it's another kind of with these third-person action-y games. Like any of them, they kind of all have the same kind of traversal stuff,
Yeah.
jumping up stuff. She's got a
How
little hook to swing.
how is the open world and the traversal compared to something like Jedi Survivor that, is kind of our most recent
Quite
open
a bit
world
different. It's
open
definitely
world?
more Ubisofty, and there
Okay.
are some stuff gated behind abilities or things you seem to get. Obviously, Jedi Survivor more stuff's like behind force powers and other things that you do. But what was interesting with this is I just saw an interview I think that PC Gamer put out where they're talking with one of the lead devs of this, and he said they took a lot of inspiration from Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I feel bad that I didn't get spend enough time with the open world to really see that. So I would like to see where that influence comes in more.
Oh, what a cutie.
Yeah. So this was just a random little thing that I saw I could jump up, and that was just out in the world. And I think I find a rare collectible. It's some collectible. And what's cool about those is if I were to go turn that in, and I didn't notice it till I was editing this video because I guess I didn't read it when I did it.
Hmm.
Is that collectible is something I could turn into a vendor to get cosmetics for Nyx. He can wear something,
Oh.
and I do not know what those look like. And I wish I had noticed that when I was playing because I would have been like, "What the hell is that like?" But I didn't.
My guess would just be like color schemes or stuff. But if you can
Maybe
like get him a little like chewy bandolier or something,
that'd be
that'd be like
fucking
10 out of
amazing.
10.
Oh yeah, that's got to be one. So here's a little bit of the speeder bike. Like when with the delay, I was so bad at driving this. Very,
I think
very
before
poor.
we were chatting and you likened it to like a wave racer
Yeah, well,
or like a
someone
jet
else.
ski
I
video
can't. I
game.
wish I could quote the journalist who said that, but I saw that on Twitter, and that's the perfect comparison.
Hmm. That's very cool.
Yeah. So this is the out in the plains of Toshara.
Hmm.
It's pretty big. I wish I could show the map. That's one of the things I can't show. It's a pretty expansive place. And this I was looking for something specific for I'd overheard an NPC like tell me about. Couldn't find it, but I'm just driving around looking, and I stumble across other stuff.
Oh, you found it. The lost step.
That's right. That's right.
It's right there the whole time, right next to the Southern
Right.
Falls that you almost
Right.
fell off.
Almost fell off.
Oh God.
But no, yeah, I just saw something to check out. And from what I remember, this isn't like marked or anything. Like you can see at the top of the compass, nothing tells me anything's here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see the like course weave and Durasteel. So like you're definitely getting stuff to craft and upgrade. I just didn't
Okay.
get to see much of the upgrade system while I was playing it.
Oh, that's an excellent flashlight for a video game.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's pretty good.
Oh my God. Games where you walk into dark spaces and it's just like you get a small like circle of light that you just need to
Yeah.
like constantly be waving around is such a pain.
Yeah. But whoops, they came back for their stuff. My
That
bad.
is super Uncharted.
Yeah. So, as I mean, some people might be bummed about that Uncharted like comparison, but like honestly, if you told me like, hey, we're making an Uncharted Star Wars game, it would instantly be my most
Yeah.
anticipated game. Oh, here's where I picked up. I did cut it. I picked up a
Grenade launcher.
grenade launcher. So that's just kind of stuff you can pick up. So this is the other planet they let me see. Of the 5 planets that I know are in Outlaws, this is Kajimi. And
Okay.
Kajimi is that planet that was in Rise of Skywalker. This is where Babu Freak is from, that everybody loves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is that snowy planet they were out. And this is somewhere in the city. Nick's like alerted to something here. So there's some puzzle element here that I couldn't figure out. And it's just that because I had a limited time, I was like, I'm not going to waste too much time trying to figure it out. But there's just weird little pockets of stuff hidden around these cities. I just want to show a little bit of what Kajimi looked like. Because it's quite different. And maybe there's a different part of the world that's more open worldy, but this was straight up just mostly hanging around the city.
Looks
And
like
I did not see any of the
teleported
Babu
into
Freak
false
people. Whatever race he is. I did not see them, but I'm sure they show up at some point.
Yeah, if they don't show up, there's at least like a cameo somewhere.
There's got to be something. Like, they'd be stupid not to show him. He's like one of the only good things from that fucking movie. Yeah, see, Nick's is like hanging out up there, and I couldn't tell if that was just some like flavor of it, like showing him like doing something.
Doing a thing.
But I got the feeling that there was something I was supposed to be able to do, and I
Yeah.
just didn't know what it was. Because she comments at the beginning of it, she says, "Hey, like, what do we find? Like, what do you see, or something like that?"
Oh, that's also very cool. I just noticed on the subtitle where it said like Nyx is sniffing, there was also a little like waypoint marker directing you to
Yeah.
where Nyx was. That's a very, very nice quality of life subtitle.
Yep. Partly because I think they must have done it because Nyx is like constantly like going places, like moving around.
Yeah.
Like you see, he's just doing whatever.
I could also imagine that'd be really helpful if you were like walking down a street and then you saw like stormtrooper, hey, you stop there, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is?
Yeah, so I'm just running around the city, just kind of showing it off more or less around. Well, this was towards the end of my time with the demo, and I just wanted to look around.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have much time left.
You can have nice space dystopic ramen.
Yeah, I kept having a prompt to eat there, but I couldn't do it. So I don't know if that was just something me not figuring out or what. I wanted some robot made food. I wanted to watch him chop it up on the grill. Oh yes, and this is important. You can pet most animals you come across. So I'm petting the animal.
There's going to be like a trophy or an achievement to pet every animal. Absolutely.
And so I think we're getting close to the end of what of these clips.
What you can show.
But I'm gonna go into, or it's gonna go into a cantina here in a second. And there's a much more classic looking cantina on I guess there isn't one on Muragana. This is the main one I went to. But obviously Mos Eisley is gonna be a place we can go to, Tatooine. So we're gonna be able to go to the OG cantina and hang out. Where Greedo shot first,
I was gonna make a joke. They've got a whiteboard with markers of like who thinks who shot first.
Yeah. But it's pretty classic vibe. Like there's a lot of information to find in here. Like you talk to the bartender about stuff. What I'm showing here is this was just a random. They're talking too loud, and I can listen to what they're saying.
That's very fun.
Yeah, and so in this way, like I found out that they hid some stuff somewhere, and I could be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get that now. That's mine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of emergent storytelling.
Tons of stuff around.
You'll get out of it as much as you put in kind of vibes.
Yeah, and I wish I could have seen or shown more, but there's so much of it going on. Like you can talk to a lot of people that aren't necessarily going to get you and that's it. We'll
Okay. And
swap.
I bet that's going to. I bet that's also going to fuel a whole bunch of people on the internet saying like, "Oh, I got this cool quest. You need to
Something,
go
yeah.
here and listen to
Because
these people," and then
there's sometimes you just overhear something. Like sometimes, there's people that are prompted, like you can go up to and talk to.
yeah,
There's a lot of people that it seems that maybe there's a payoff later because obviously I play the game long enough to know. But there's a lot of interactions you can have where it's just like you're just talking to them about whatever. Like
Yeah.
one's a gambler who's like, "Hey, man, like I just need some money to like I swear I'll be good for it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not falling for that."
sure thing, buddy.
Stuff like that where there's lots of little flavor things all around. That's the thing I'm most excited for in this.
Yeah,
Because we don't in no Star Wars movie and not really many of the show, like they're not very good at just showing what normal ass people do.
yeah,
And that's what's cool about this. And even this is not quite that because we're in the outer rim where it's like this is where all the criminals hang out. Like Kajimi, I don't know if you caught it, that last guy said, "Hey, we've never really had to deal with the Empire here on Kajimi before."
Mhm.
Kajimi is like an outpost for outlaws where they just, it was created by criminals. So it's never had the touch of like law other than their own, internal stuff. So obviously that's a little bit of a change of what's going on in Outlaws.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of stuff in this, but it's that running around the talking with people in those cities is the coolest part to me. The part I'm most excited about, and the storytelling part. She's pretty great. Kay Vess is a great character too. She is super reminiscent of Han Solo in a good way. I'm hoping she's not just a straight up like this is basically Han Solo when he's young.
Yeah,
I hope she has a little something for herself. But right now she feels very Han Solo, which isn't necessarily bad, I guess. But
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you were right to say that. Like, we really haven't seen many other like just scoundrel type characters.
no, the closest
in
we get
what
are
is
those bounty hunters.
yeah, and in what is essentially the Wild West of Star Wars, you'd
Yeah.
really think that we'd have a few more of them running around. I guess the one that's kind of close is Lando, and he
In a
owns
way.
the city or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, he like is in charge of a whole city.
he's operating on a wholly different level.
Yeah, so that's what was the thing that got me really excited about Outlaws. Cause it's like, oh, that's what's neat. Because there's kind of the of the original trilogy, like Luke's a certain kind of archetype of the good Jedi guy. Han Solo's the scoundrelly guy. And Leia slowly turns into like the smart, generally person that's very capable,
Yeah,
strategic mind. So they all kind of fit in their own kind of roles. And we've seen a lot of the other two. Like there's lots of those showing up all over. But Han Solo's kind of the guy. And they're like, he's arguably the most popular character from the original trilogy, if you ask a lot of people like it. And yet we don't really see much modeled after him. Maybe the smartassness, but that's kind of it.
yeah. I guess Poe was almost there, but
Close. He's the
we
closest
all
analog, yeah.
yeah, we all know how disjointed all of those stories and those characters are movie to movie. So
Yeah, but part of it is what I like about Han Solo and that they hint at in the original trilogy, but then go in with actually one of the things I like about the sequels is showing like he is just like he's a bit of a grifter and just trying to get by. Like, because they hint at it a lot in the original trilogy. Well, I mean, not hint at. I mean, he gets put in carbonite because he didn't fucking pay Jabba the Hutt back.
yeah,
And stuff. So like, he's always getting into shit. And someone that's constantly in this underworld, I think, will be super cool of like dealing with these criminal syndicates. Because one thing with that reputation with the Pikes that I didn't mention is they straight up show a screen like they did with the merchants, where they're like, hey, don't worry too much about your reputation changing. It's going to go up and down a lot depending on what you want to do and need to do in the moment. Like, so in certain times you may be like, me and the Pikes are besties, and other times like, well, they got something I need, so fuck them. Like, and it's going to be a lot of changing back and forth, which is unusual in a lot of games. But I thought it fit really well with the scoundrel because really it doesn't make sense for Kay Vess to have any one loyalty anywhere because
yeah,
she wants to get what she the best that she can, and that means kind of using everybody whenever she can.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess as we depart from this, are there any things that you feel like you've seen in trailers or other like gameplay footage that you didn't get a chance to that you're looking forward to when the game is out in
I
just a few
think
weeks?
I think I want to know a lot more about this Droid Indy 5 dude.
Mhm.
Where did he come from? He doesn't seem like the K2SO type he's obviously a former Empire droid. He seems extremely serious and extremely like good at his job. And the few little snippets that there's been a couple missions in the times that I've played where he's talked to me like over radio and like had very sound advice. Like after I did something like I fucked up, I was like, oh, he's right. I wish he would have said that before. I should have done something smarter. So I'm very intrigued on where he comes from and what Kay is ultimately thinking about with her. And there's another character that I really like. I wish I could remember her name. I put it in my preview. Did you ever watch The Americans?
No.
That show? Her name is Donka. I don't know. I can't remember if that's how it's pronounced. She's a Mon Calamari who early on, and when you get to Mirogana, that first city,
Yeah.
like approaches Kay after she tries some shit that doesn't work, and is like, "Hey, you obviously don't know how things work around here. I got some work for you though," and kind of helps her out. And she gives me super big like Margot from The American vibes. And you might know the actress. I think the actress name is Margot Martindale. So if you look her up, people are going to recognize her, guaranteed. Even if you haven't seen The Americans, you will know who she is. And she gives me heavy vibes from her. And that lady's a phenomenal actress.
Okay.
And the character Margot from The Americans is great. And this Donka lady feels a lot like that. And because this is a criminal underworld, I cannot wait to learn how she is using Kay to her own ends, whether that
Yeah.
is to screw her over or just take advantage of her in some way. So there's just certain character stuff that I've seen that I'm excited for. And obviously, I'm excited to interact with Jabba the Hutt at some point. Whatever's going on there, check out his palace.
Yeah. So
But
where is this set in the greater Star Wars timeline?
this is set between Empire and Return of the Jedi, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So yeah, it's set between there because I think one of the things that is in the game, I don't think they've shown or anything, but I think you'll have a chance to see Han and Carbonite because he will have been captured already and put in Jabba's palace.
Between the movies.
So so I'm pretty sure it's between Empire and Return of the Jedi is the timeline.
Cool.
So I don't know what original trilogy characters we might run into. I kind of hope it's none, but I know it's not going to be none because
Kind of
of
want
what it is.
the less is more approach.
Yeah, because I don't know. Although the Vader stuff in Jedi is actually fucking cool. So.
Yeah, if there's anyone who shows up, a Darth Vader chase sequence or something.
Those are always
always good, always terrifying.
Yeah, the one in Jedi is so good, just comes out of nowhere. And then the Survivor one is also like super epic. His cameo is great. So I don't know. I mean, if they handle it well, obviously it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I just hope they're not in there just for the sake of like, hey, there's fucking whoever.
Yeah.
And if it is, hopefully it's a minor character, something like that.
You know, Luke showing up and then having to be nerfed for some reason so that this main character can be more important in the moment than the other more main character.
But there's a lot. I was very wary of this. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It wasn't so sure about it with the kind of like open world Ubisoft, like just tired of it kind of model. Like it's like kind of over it. But this got me pretty pumped. I mean, like I said, I don't think it does open world stuff like too novelty, but it does like a lot of cool stuff with Star Wars we haven't seen. Letting us see stuff. So I'm super excited after playing more of it now.
Excelente. Well, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that the game's out in less than a month at this point.
Yeah, the end of August. It's out.
Awesome. Well, I think that will be it from us here at Tech Raptor. As I said, check out the full preview in the description below. And when the game comes out, I'm sure you will be able to check out a full review at Tech Raptor, as well as likely some guides if you're trying to check out those emergent stories and collectibles.
Lots of stuff.
But with that, we will catch you all later. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.